can't hear whatever it is outside. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to Amelia's review for the week. Ignore what we were saying just a second ago. I have no idea what she's on about.
Hang on. You cannot hear that like dun 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 dun.
No, you're just mental. Anyway, welcome to the end of the week review. Amelia has taken the piss out of me for my intro, even though she's been part of it for like 35 episodes.
I thought you were going to say 35 years. That's going to be like.
Anyway, I'm your host, Purple Midnight 8, joined as ever by the one and only, whatever your name is. What's your name again?
Woman.
Woman. I'm joined by woman. Of course, my lovely wife, person, the person I live with,
That you hobbit with.
that I hobbit with, who, I don't know what you want to say. Anyway, of course, Amelia, the Obsidian Nook Pal ASMR, as always, back with this week. We are covering the beginning of the descent of Scooby-Doo with Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Begins.
Go and grab a coffee, guys. We haven't really much positive this one.
It's another one where we're going to butcher it, which is
It
the
was
best
enough
episode.
for me to put it back for charity.
She had it on DVD, which means at some point she liked it and she loved it. Because
When you got it on DVD, I don't like it
Yeah,
that
but then
much.
what happened was you came along and made me like re-look at everything, and now I'm just like,
it ruined everything for you.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, of course, Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Begins came out in 2009, which is 14 years ago, which is scary.
I feel old.
Yeah, so do I, and I'm not even as old as you. Anyway,
Just
yeah,
clarify
it's
your
later.
age for everyone.
I am 5 years younger than her. We do not need to specify. We do not need to specify. I'm 5 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell the fuck truth.
Anyway, of course, we are looking at Scooby-Doo: The Mystery Begins.
He wouldn't let me do the other one first, which I think is the worst one.
Well, it doesn't make sense because we need to do them in order. We can't just fucking skip one. Like, why? Why would we do that? So anyway, we're doing this one. As I said, this is the beginning of the descent for Scooby-Doo. It does not contain any of the original cast from the first two films, nor has it got anything to do with James Gunn like the first two. So it's not funny. It's just forced humor that just.
And it's really bad. What did you say that Scooby-Doo didn't really look as convincing as the first two?
Somehow, however
I've said
long it's been
CGI,
since Scooby-Doo 1 and 2,
You said it's not CGI.
I said it doesn't look like CGI like it did 5 years before this. It looks like a cartoon. At least the original.
Like the cast kind of one a bit awkward. Like the magic with was it Matthew Lillard?
The chemistry that the original cast shared is not in this film. It's very forced because everyone played off of each other. Everyone everyone had their highlights. Everyone played their characters really well and embraced the sort of cheesiness. This almost feels like a fucking high school reproduction of Scooby-Doo, which is ironic considering how much of this is set in a school. Which, God, it's so typical for films just to be set in schools. It seems so much cheaper.
It's like the ghosts. Really like
The makeup and the
really
effects on the
as well.
ghosts were not fantastic. It just looked like fake masks.
Like, no offense to them, the Ghostbuster ghosts look more convincing.
Yeah, and they probably had a similar budget. I don't know what the budget for this is, and I don't really care to find out, but as well as that, the set pieces and everything in the originals like actually seem believable. Whereas you can look at half the stuff that's not shot in the school as clearly something that's been built for the film.
Yeah, and this as well, it's just like the name of the town where it Coolsville.
Coolsville is the actual name of it, I think. Scooby-Doo lore, per se. But as I said to you The first film had this big island, this big rave, this super like what was it literally called, like Spooky Island or something, wasn't it?
But the cast just made it so great, and especially Matthew Lillard with like this with Scoob and that, and it just felt
We
with
are
this
big Matthew Lillard fans on
with
this channel.
Shaggy in this one, it was kind of like
Shaggy was trying to do the voice too much.
and it was like when Scooby runs into the house. Spoiler alert.
Well, we will
And
actually say
Shaggy's
spoilers
like
here.
talking to him under the blanket. It just didn't look right. As I say, I enjoyed it when it first came out, and Mum got it for me on DVD. But as I've gotten older, like I said to you, it's been sitting in the drawer for nearly 2 years now, and I haven't pulled it out within that time. This is the first time we've pulled it out.
It's like what happened with It Follows, which you can also
This
watch on the
this
channel.
is why I'm donating it, because somebody else can buy it from charity.
Someone may get more enjoyment out of it
Maybe a
than
little
us.
kid who doesn't see into everything and read too much.
As I said to you, I said, because once again with this, like with Nerve, you were like, shall we cancel this? But I said, no. Even if it's bad and absolutely god awful, we can at least rip the shit out of it. It's not the worst film we've covered. Ironically, it's going above Nerve and It Follows on our lists. But it's still just... When you've got the two predecessors, it kind of sets that expectation of this has to be good. But as soon as you replace the entire cast, including the voice actor of Scooby-Doo, who at least is now the voice actor for the cartoons, so at least it had that going for it. But when you replace the iconic cast of the originals with a bunch of fucking, like, well, I've never heard of most of them, except for Fred's actor, who we will get into in a little bit, just because he featured on the channel recently.
As I say, just not being horrible. Their acting just don't seem that great.
There's no chemistry. It's just, and as I was trying to say earlier with the locations, like you had the first one had the big spooky island, the second one had like the big industrial area, and it had like the big mansion, and this one it's just like most of it's in a school.
I have never seen a meme from this one, for TikTok or anything. I've just seen it for the first one.
I remember with Scooby-Doo, there was obviously when they were doing their bourbon match, and he goes, "Are you threatening me?" Because then that spawned that meme of Shaggy having this like infinite power, which was a terrible fucking meme, but it went everywhere on the internet for a little while a few years ago. Which is scary to say that was a few years ago, because I remember it like it was yesterday. So anyway, we'll get into our little breakdown of the film now. Amelia did some minor spoilers, but obviously we're going to get into some major spoilers. You're not missing much. It's just a Scooby-Doo film. It's the first ever mystery they did together. It's a reboot, but it's not a prequel to the original films. Thank God, because I don't see how the Fred in this can become Freddie Prinze Jr. Plus, at least you had the joke of Freddie Prinze Jr. as playing Fred. I want to kill myself. Yeah, there's a lot of threats of possibly committing unalive. And there were a lot of like noises thrown in like it was a cartoon as well. Like Shaggy bangs his head and literally goes boing, or he slips and it does like a whistle. It's cringe. It's embarrassing. You can't even get any enjoyment out of laughing at it. So there was a couple of points that made me laugh, but not like a full out like cackle. I sort of just went, huh, that's it. Like I might have exhaled some air from my nose, and that was about it. So anyway, we'll get on with the actual breakdown of the film, and we'll get into some scene by scenes. This film is directed by Brian Levant. Elephant. He's an elephant. I've not heard of him.
And another important thing is that Fred's hair is completely wrong. Like,
Yeah, Fred's got like brown hair in this.
And I know now he should have.
Yeah, at least they put a fucking wig on Freddie Prinze Jr. in the first one, and then he actually had the blonde hair in the second. Anyway, get on with it. Let me get my cast list back. And I also need to find out what this dude. I think he might have directed the sequel.
Oh, don't expect.
He directed Beethoven. Oh no, I thought that's a Beetlejuice when I first saw it. Okay, never mind. He directed Beethoven, that giant dog film.
Wait.
So you got Beethoven, you've got the Flintstones movie with oh, is it John Goodman? Yeah, John Goodman, as well as its prequel that I don't think had any of them in it, ironically. He did Jingle All the Way. Why have I heard of that? What is that? Oh, it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas film. Of course it is. Oh God, it's just one of. I'm making movies for the audience that I was when I was sitting at home watching Garfield, Goose, and the Three Stooges. I can't get that back on them. I'm playing around. Anyway, enough about Brian Levant that doesn't even have a fucking picture on his Wikipedia page. It's written by Daniel and Stephen Altier. Can't even click on their names on the Wikipedia, so that's not a good start. As I said, it serves as a reboot of the previous films. I don't know why. I know they didn't do great, but they've become such classics now. I don't know why they thought, fuck it, we'll reboot it. I don't get it, because there's... It pisses me. It pisses me off.
Like number 2.
Yeah, or kept going. So we'll get into it. In Coolsville, Shaggy, who is now played by Nick Palatas, he's not in a lot because I googled him thinking I recognised him and didn't. He, of course, is playing boldly replacing Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, which is a terrible decision. As mentioned, he does the forced voice. It's clearly not his natural voice, and he tries, but it doesn't come off even good or even passable. He gets on a bus alongside fellow students Fred, brown-haired Fred, played by Robbie Amell, previously seen on the channel in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. He played Chris Redfield, of course. Velma, played by Hayley Kiyoko. I thought I recognised her, but I don't think I do. Insidious Chapter 3, which I think we'll probably end up covering at some point. That's about it. A couple of CSIs. She's 32 now, and that was 40. Fuck, she was literally 18 when this came out.
Oh,
Bloody hell. That make a change, because usually they cast like adults to play kids in... Well, not kids, students. And Daphne, played by Kate Melton. Now, that is a name I recognise, not just from this, obviously. Oh, she's in fuck all. She's in this and the sequel. I was wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong. Shaggy is doing a terrible voice, as mentioned, in imitation of previous interpretations. I mean, nobody else tries to do a voice, except obviously Frank Welker as Scooby-Doo. But they could have just had him do a normal voice and I would have been fine with it. At school, Shaggy meets with the principal, Deedle, played by... Deekle, actually. His name's really weird. Deedle. No, it is Deedle. He's played by Sean McDonald, who is in... Once again, nothing really of note. I think I might just give up unless they're like...
Well,
I'm just going to give up.
There's only one character who...
Oh yeah, there's one character who I will give a shout out to for being a returning cast member.
The other... Second one?
Yeah, he was in the second one. We'll get to him when we come across him. So he uses some down with the kids terms like, oh god, like rad and fly, and it's just cringe. And shows Shaggy his stamp collection, which is foreshadowing his reveal as the ultimate mastermind villain. Deedle gives him the usual "don't give up" speech. He's like, "You'll find friends, I promise. You've just got to keep going, and one day you'll find people who you'll fit in with." And it's like, God, I wonder who he's on about. What other characters have we met in this film? Ugh, stupid. So at an adoption event, Scooby-Doo, or Scoobit-Doobit, to give him his full name, played by Frank Welker, the original voice actor from the cartoons, but not the films, I should say. Uh, he is repeatedly denied adoption by people despite his attempts to impress them. After the event, his cage falls off the truck, taking him away. Truck taking him away, so the truck that's transporting him, I should say. And that night, he witnesses two ghosts arrive from their graves, causing him to run away, where he eventually ends up at Shaggy's. As mentioned, these ghosts look terrible. It's very obviously like heavy prosthetics that aren't convincing, as well as putting on this like they're clearly filmed against a green screen, and they put this like green filter on it.
I just don't.
It's not convincing at all. They might as well, if they could have threw a sheet on them like they used to, and then been like, "Yep, that's a ghost." The two of them make introductions, and Shaggy invites him to stay and be friends. And the next day, they board the bus once more, where Shaggy is bullied again by a friend of Fred's. So Scooby bites him, causing a fight to break out between the future mystery gang. The fight causes the bus driver to crash his bus, which damages Vice Principal Grimes' car. He is played by Gary Chalk, causing the group to get detention in the library. The group bickers at detention, are forced to read books and make awkward conversation, but share their interest on mysteries. God, do you think they're going to become the mystery? Do you think?
Nah.
I don't. It's just very forced. Fred tries to flirt with Daphne by apologising only to her and nobody else, which Velma doesn't like the idea of because she gets jealous. Scooby, who was left outside, suddenly notices a convenient spooky storm. As mentioned in previous films, it's one of those storms where it just appears because the plot needs it. However, I think it's to do with the ghosts, I think they say later on, but doesn't serve any purpose with the ghosts. The storm, he literally just looks over and it's like storm. It's like, oh, guess we're doing that now. It flickers all the school's lights and makes it all cold. Books are thrown at them by a mysterious force until a large book lands on the table containing the two cemetery ghosts, Prudence and Ezekiel. In a picture, I should say. Oh, no, they don't. No, it does land with them two at it. Like, literally the ghosts.
That kind of shit, because they had, like, flashing lights and everything on it, if you remember.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that cold that quick.
Yeah, but it's ghosts. It's ghosts. Ghosts are causing everything to be cold. Spooky. The group will run out of the library and crash the school's pep rally, which is a very American thing to have. Sorry, I'm very salivary tonight. My mouth is just like... Let me just have a little sip.
Oh, we are joined by our host. Okay.
But yeah, Stasi is back this week. He was just riding his little bike in his dream. He was kicking his little paws around. So yeah, they crash the pep rally as the ghosts also make their entrance. The lights go out as a mysterious dark spectre, who is, I have to say, is voiced by Daniel Riordan. He's more of a voice actor, and probably most famous, according to his Wikipedia page, is the voice of Alduin from Skyrim, the big bad dragon. You have no idea. We haven't even covered that yet on the channel as a playthrough, but it's on the list. Little tease for you that we've got that down the line. He announces his presence to the students. Grimes doesn't believe it's real and blames the group for it. Under what evidence? I think he literally is like, they're doing it because they're mad at me for putting them in detention.
Yeah.
He's your very, 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 very obvious red herring. No. Because then he gets captured by the Dark Spectre later on. Anyway. So yeah, he blames them for it and then suspends them from school. The group, now including Scooby-Doo from outside, goes to the cemetery from earlier to investigate. They find the graves of Prudence and Ezekiel, and because of course she does, Velma recognises the names. The group all conclude that they have a mystery. They've got a mystery on their hands because they're mysterying, and that they need to meet up together somewhere else, which ends up being Shaggy's house. Shaggy pretends to be sick in order to fool his mother so he and Scooby can clean up just as the others arrive. Literally, like, they tidy up and then they're knocking on the door straight away. Very convenient timing, guys. Shaggy gives them some prototype Scooby snacks as Scooby devours the rest as Velma arrives. He literally is like, oh, it can taste like dog biscuits and like some other bits, but I haven't thought a name of them yet. It's like, do we need everything explained in this fucking prequel? It's literally just like, you know, this that like is a popular thing in the show. We're gonna explain that.
Yeah,
We want everything explained, including the little fucking snacks that are also in the like cartoon branded as like Scooby-Doo official like merchandise. It's dumb. They just want to explain everything, and it irritates me. Velma brings her laptop with an image of a news article which contains an image of Prudence and Ezekiel when they were alive. I must say, I didn't specify that. There was an accident that destroyed the old academy that the two built together, which also killed them. We're not getting best kill, worst kill for this fucking film. These are the only two people that are dead, and they're not even on screen. No, there are more ghosts, but there's no on-screen deaths or anything. So the best death can be for nobody, and the worst could be for everyone else because it was all off screen. It's great. Because technically people have died, but no, I'm not counting that bullshit. The group will go to the school at night where they casually perform a B&E. They break and enter. I just thought I'd have to explain that to you. And Fred insists that they split up, which everyone refuses to do, as the Dark Spectre sends ghosts after them. It's the speech, and it's the let's all split up and go for clues. I'll go with the women, you go with the dog. They possess two mannequins as Velma discovers some residue in the gym. They start off as mannequins, and then it clearly turns into someone wearing a skin, like a fucking morph suit.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't.
You can clearly see they're wearing like cloth instead of like realistically like plasticky crap like as a costume. Pardon me. That was loud. The mic probably picked that up. The mannequins managed to sneak up on them, causing the group to split up in order to escape. This is the kind of scene which they could have really embraced the cheesiness of the cartoons, and it would have at least made the film a bit more enjoyable by having them like go through different doorways and coming out of a different door. Like that. When we were watching it, I thought it was going to be like lining up for like the classic Scooby-Doo chase, and I was just like, oh, they all just run and like end up in different rooms. Like, great, thanks. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. Daphne and Velma end up in the theatre where they find a costume that resembles the Spectre as Ezekiel searches for them. I think they said it was a costume from Julius Caesar, the play, but I can't remember and I didn't care to write it down. Fred stays behind to take on Prudence, just fights this pathetic fucking ghost-possessed mannequin who just like tries to rugby tackle him and he like jumps over her. She literally like flings this fold-up chair out of anger. Throw the fucking chair! Stop running at him, just yeet some fucking chairs! Sorry, this film wound me up more than I thought it would. I might... This is the episode where Mitchell gets really fucking angry. Anyway.
We've still got another one to go.
We've still got a sequel!
Or this one.
You have picked two shit films, and next week you're like, I want to do the sequel to this. I just want them out of the way. I said you can just have a fucking bonus episode where you can throw this out. But no, you're like, I want to do it for my picks. I've got to pick something good to go between these two films. Like, something good for my choice in a couple of days. Because you're doing the Scooby-Doo sequels, and they're shit. Oh dear, fucking hell. I'm so sorry. This is the episode where his psyche finally snaps and he goes on a fucking rampage. Anyway. So yeah, Fred fucking lost track of where I was now. So yeah, Fred stays behind, overpowering a fucking ghost. Managing to separate her from a mannequin as Shaggy and Scooby pass her, and she just goes, fuck it, I'll go for them instead. That other one who somehow beat me. He's fucking. I'm not interested. They of course end up in the canteen's freezer where Prudence locks them in. Fred, Daphne, and Velma all manage to escape. The next morning, because they just didn't realise that they left Shaggy and Scooby behind, the three of them regroup and they actually realise, hang on, where's the other two? Lol. They're dead. Forget it. As they are found by Grimes. So yeah, just as they're like, where's Shaggy and Scooby? Grimes is like, oh, there they are. And they're like, oh, we didn't do it. The ghosts did it, and they also like ate all the ice cream. You can tell this film wasn't released theatrically. It was straight to TV.
To just do that as a bonus because the
amount of anger that's coming out. So yeah, you've heard it here first, folks. We're going to be doing another bonus episode this week. Yeah, but we're still going to have to do it. It's not like I'm doing two in a row of mine. Ugh. It pains me. It pains me. Like, it didn't anger me as much when we were watching it, but now that I'm talking about it and we're filming it, I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, Fred and the girls get to school finding it vandalised by the ghosts and find the residue was from a smoke screen and realise the Dark Spectre is not a ghost. Oh no! He's not a ghost, but he somehow. This school has a book that can resurrect the fucking dead. They all find Deacle and Grimes and try to explain, but they are unable to, as Scooby and Shaggy were found in a predicament. Shaggy defends the others and claims he and Scooby were solely responsible, but the others side with him. Ah, I'm sorry. This episode has angered me. I now can't get past it.
Sure you don't want to.
No, we're literally recording it. I'm putting it up, even if it just is me getting angry at this film. Oh God. So yeah, of course he defends the others, and they all stand up to Grimes, and they're all like, that makes Shaggy feel so much better because he's got friends now. Oh. If I at least put fucking the movie begins, at least it could be funny. At least we could have been like, haha, you put the thing in. No. To be fair, at least this is funny for me being angry, whereas fucking Creep was just depressing and morbid.
That's actually quite true.
At least this is funny because I'm getting so angry at it, and I bet you can't wait till the fucking sequel. Anyway, we'll get right into it. I'm going to be all hippie and chill for the rest of the video. I'm not going to get angry at bullshit. So Grimes informs them that they are now all expelled. Shaggy has a theory that the janitor, who is played by C. Ernst Half, I'm going to mention because he played Minor, is it 49er?
Yeah, I think I remember you saying.
He was the minor monster, like ghost in the last film. Which is weird to think that he is the only returning cast member from the film. And his character was, like, not even in it that much. Or the librarian, who is played by Lorena Gale, could be suspects. So Daphne gives the gang a makeover in order to disguise them so that they can go to school to investigate. So Daphne turns herself into a goth. She turns Fred into this fucking like vanilla ice looking motherfucker, and just puts Scooby and Shaggy in a fucking bin, and turns Daphne into stereotypical attractive girl. Look, they already did this in the second one. They already had her turn into this big like attractive. Ooh yeah. Like, look, I don't have my glasses anymore, so that means I'm attractive now. Which is surprisingly common in films, which you'll notice if we ever do like rom-coms and shit. Which we won't because I'd rather be dead. Unless it's nah, rom-coms are shit. You heard it first. Unless it's an Adam Sandler film because I hate him, and it's just him, this horrible person who gets this attractive woman somehow, despite him being an absolute bellend. I'm now going on a tangent about fucking Adam Sandler. We're doing a movie of his later. We've got it planned. We won't spoil when for. However, if you can see when this video was uploaded, you'll be able to guess when, and probably which film if you're clever enough. So the gang tails behind the janitor to the boiler room where they see him film himself performing for a camera. I've just realised that makes it sound like he's a fucking cam model, like a cam girl. He is not. He wants to be a dancer. And there's this really awkward scene where he sort of like prances around in the fucking... God. How the mighty have fallen. He played a ghost in the last one and now is just dancing in a boiler room. Where you going?
Let me adjust.
Velma follows the librarian where she discovers that she has received a new job opportunity elsewhere and she stumbles across a book. The librarian finds it and she believes Velma to be a Russian exchange student and they briefly converse before Velma escapes. They regroup at Shaggy's with Velma showing them the book which is all about spells and vexes. Very convenient how that's the one she finds. I'm gonna need like
Therapy.
yeah. Which of course was last checked out by Grimes. They find out that Grimes lives a considerable distance away, and Shaggy reveals that he can drive. They all go to Daphne's lavish house to steal a vehicle from her father, which of course is the early version of the Mystery Machine, because once again, they need to give everything its own fucking origin. Shaggy struggles at first, but somehow manages to get it to work, and very quickly is able to drive it just fine, as you pointed out. The gang will bond with one another on the road and talk thought of one another. And they eventually arrive at Grimes' home, where they find the door mysteriously opened for them, and upon entering, I've just pressed page down. Upon entering, they agree this time to split up and look for clues. The ghosts appear and possess some model vehicles that apparently have working weaponry. Like, the planes and the tanks literally have bullets in them that, like, shoot holes in the walls. Give me some of them. Could you imagine if Lego did that? How sick would that be? So, yeah, these model vehicles that apparently have loaded munitions on them, they possess them and attack Scooby and Shaggy. Sorry, I was having another little sippy sip. All my anger has given me a dry throat. They go into Grimes' study where they find another book and the same news article that suggests Grimes after. I'm going to restart that. They go into a study and find a book and the same news article that suggests Grimes is after an old time capsule that's buried under the school. The gang are forced to retreat as the vehicles attack again, running into the Dark Spectre, who uses a spray to knock them out and leave them at the school's gym. The Dark Spectre then reappears and confirms that he's after the capsule and orders them to find it after threatening Scooby-Doo while also revealing that he is not Grimes. The red herring wasn't the actual...
See, you can hear it. Dun, dun,
Oh, it's
dun,
music,
dun.
I think. The gang band together and enter a large old academy that's apparently still standing, may I add. Most of the building that was apparently destroyed in a flood is like preserved perfectly. At the bottom, they head through some very obvious sets. Like I say, at least with the original two, they actually felt like real places as opposed to whatever you want to call these fake-looking
I'm
corridors.
sorry.
We are very gassy. This is the angry and gassy episode. Oh my god, that's what we should rename it to, the Angry and Gassy Show. You got the angry one and the gassy one. We are not doing that.
Yeah, but you're the sleepy one. Our third co-host.
I know, he's swishing his tail in his sleep. Anyway. So they find the storage room where the wall almost falls on Fred and Velma's stunt doubles. I have to point it out because a lot of them are so obvious. Thanks for leaving your phone on loud. With your fucking book worth of a notification. So Shaggy and Fred call out to the Spectre and tell him that they need help retrieving the capsule, causing him to head down with the book. He takes the book, but also goes down on his own instead of using these ghosts that can probably manipulate heavy objects. Why would you? Just tell them to fuck off. There's like 4 of them down there. They can all carry it together. So, of course, he goes down on his own, completely unprotected, and they all... However, they open a door, which accidentally leaves the Times capsule in the Spectre's hands when water floods out from it. Scooby, back in the gym, manages to break free of his bonds as the others run through the corridors, where they end up in a classroom that's filled with bats that immediately fly out when they all run from it. Shaggy reads out a random entry in the book, which accidentally causes some more bad ghosts, which cause chaos throughout Coolsville. For about 5 minutes, until Shaggy, once again, when confronted by the Spectre, reads out another spell, which of course is the correct one, which banishes all the ghosts.
Nearly there.
Nearly there, guys. We're at the last page now. Spectre threatens them with... I just called him Spectre. Like, that's just what I've called him now. I've given up calling him the Dark Spectre. So the Dark Spectre threatens them with prop dynamite. It's literally like the big sticks. It's not even like a grenade or something. It's just like 3 sticks of dynamite. Until Scooby-Doo rescues them and ties up the Spectre. They unmask him and find Deacle underneath. And they open the capsule and find letters with misprinted stamps on them, which are very valuable. As he gives the tip, as of course, Deacle gives the stereotypical speech that we all know. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't. And your stupid dog, I think he adds at the end. So Grimes gives a speech sometime later, forgiving the gang and apologises to them. Grimes and the gang officially bury the time capsule, with Shaggy accidentally damaging Grimes' car. It's just a recurring joke for no reason that's not even funny. The gang all leave together and agree to remain friends with one another and go to investigate another mystery together. A montage plays before the credits of the gang solving mysteries and repainting the Mystery Machine as the film ends. So, we've all heard my thoughts for this film. Amelia, what are your thoughts? It didn't even pick it up.
It was
You did it that
terrible.
quietly. It was bad. It was a bad film. What a disaster following on from the first 2 like iconic films. I don't even think the original like What's New Scooby-Doo was like the I don't even think they used the original song for the main menu. It sounded like a cover. I don't know what else to say really. Like what can I say that I haven't already said in this video? Like it just wasn't a good film, and there was such a disappointment following on after the first 2 films that became so iconic and have so much meaning to so many people. Like, what were you thinking?
We just don't recommend it.
I know it's like meant to be the younger cast because it's like a reboot for whatever reason, but also like a prequel. Like, I still would have preferred maybe at least Fred to have the right coloured hair. But I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't know what they were thinking and how they thought this film was a good idea and why they let it come to like the surface. And what the fuck did it get a sequel? that we will be covering next week, because I can't wait to blow my fucking brains out. Anyway, we've made everything pretty. We've made all our opinions as open as we can. So there's nothing really more to add other than film bad. I, of course, have been your very shouty, angry host, Purple Midnight 8. I've been joined by my quiet co-host, Amelia. The Obsidian Nook, Pet SMR. You can find her link alongside our links in the description. It's my turn this week. I'm going to pick a film that's actually good. So, it means
I can then butcher.
that you can. Well, you never know. You actually quite enjoyed film I covered last, Jurassic Park. You didn't love it, but you enjoyed it. So yeah, this has been our little review show. Thank you ever so much for listening to me shout for approximately 40 minutes. We'll see you later this week. Bye bye.